The retirement of one of football's defining personalities marks a turning point for the sport and for one-star quarterback. The departure of Travis Kelce leaves both a void and an opportunity. Across the field, Patrick Mahomes faces a future shaped by change, legacy, and expectations. In this moment of transition, the narrative shifts from what was to what can become. Spectators witness the end of one era and the beginning of another. Mahomes has built a reputation on precision, power, and poise. Now, the dynamics around him transform. Contract negotiations loom. Offensive leadership responsibilities intensify. The team structure evolves. This story seeks to explore the truth behind Mahomes' path forward. It outlines his potential, risks, and the strategic adaptations required. In the following chapters, the investigation delves deeper into the roster implications, coaching dynamics, league pressures, and personal ambition. Each chapter uncovers a layer of this unfolding future. The stage is set for a transformation both challenging and promising. Keep focus on Mahomes' journey beyond Kelce's departure. With Kelce no longer in the lineup, the target distribution changes drastically. Mahomes must adjust to receiving cores that lack the same chemistry and legacy connection. The offensive coordinator faces an urgent task: design plays that exploit Mahomes' mobility and arm strength while compensating for the departure of his top tight end. Younger receivers will emerge under pressure, stepping into roles once occupied by a veteran leader. The running game may see heavier emphasis to reduce reliance on pass-heavy offense. Mahomes' performance metrics will shift accordingly: fewer predictable short passes and more explosive downfield throws. The offensive line gains renewed significance as Mahomes seeks to maintain his pocket presence. Leadership within the locker room moves up a tier. Mahomes must become the vocal influence earlier reserved for Kelce. Team morale and cohesion become key variables. The synergy between quarterback and receiving unit must be rebuilt. Mahomes' decision-making speed and trust in new targets will determine success. The transition demands resilience, adaptability, and a redefined offensive identity. Coaching strategy must adapt to reflect the new configuration of talent around Mahomes. The playbook evolves from a tight and centric model toward a diversified attack. Mahomes will see increased use of motion, rollouts, and shotgun formations that align with his mobility strengths. This means the coaching staff must emphasize pre-snap reads, spatial awareness, and improvisation under pressure. Mahomes' chemistry with wide receivers becomes a key focus in practice sessions, building timing and anticipation without the familiar presence of Kelce. The offensive coordinator will also integrate more RPOs, run-pass options, as a hedge against the ambiguity created by Kelce's absence. In addition, red zone strategies morph. Screens, misdirections, and horizontal stretch tactics replace frequent seam passes. Mahomes must internalize these adjustments while maintaining his trademark quick release and decision discipline. Coaching meetings become more intensive, emphasizing film study of opposing defenses that now target Mahomes as the singular focal point. The synergy between Mahomes and coaches therefore enters a new phase of collaboration and innovation. When a dominant teammate exits, leadership responsibilities shift. Mahomes must now assume expanded influence, both on and off the field. His mental resilience becomes a cornerstone for future success. Without the safety net of Kelce's consistency, Mahomes must absorb pressure as the primary driver of the offense. He must articulate strategy, motivate teammates, and exemplify calm in high-stakes moments. Training sessions, team meetings, and game day preparations require him to embody a stable presence. Adversity will arise in the form of new throwaway sequences, dropped passes, and transitional chemistry issues. Mahomes' response to these trials determines long-term trajectory. Emotional intelligence plays a role, supporting younger teammates, managing expectations, and maintaining focus under media scrutiny. The locker room dynamic shifts. Hierarchy realigns around Mahomes' voice and actions. High performance demands discipline, clear communication, and personal accountability. In this context, Mahomes must navigate the balance between individual brilliance and collective cohesion. This chapter underscores that the future depends as much on mental fortitude as on physical talent. The organizational context around Mahomes magnifies in significance after Kelce's retirement. Contract dynamics become central to the future narrative. The franchise must align its investment with Mahomes's evolving role as the centerpiece. That means extended financial commitment, roster investments, and strategic salary cap maneuvering. Mahomes likely evaluates guaranteed terms, incentives, and structural safeguards. The organization expects returns, championship contending performance, leadership maturity, and sustained elite output. The removal of Kelce's presence raises the stakes. Mahomes must demonstrate that the offensive machine will thrive despite structural changes. Front office decisions around draft picks, free agency acquisitions, and coaching hires will reflect belief in his ability to deliver. Job security for ancillary players and staff may hinge on Mahomes's trajectory. Sponsorship and brand value increase as Mahomes becomes the undiminished face of the franchise. This chapter addresses how contractual and organizational forces shape his path forward. The balance between individual merit and team architecture will influence whether Mahomes's future remains singularly remarkable. Defenses across the league immediately adapt, exploit the shift in Mahomes's supporting cast. Opponents identify weakness. Absence of Kelce opens lanes for pressure packages, safeties creeping into short zones, and linebackers blitzing more aggressively. Mahomes's reading of pressure and ability to escape becomes more critical than ever. There is less margin for error given the reduced assortment of high-end targets. League coordinators study tape to design packages that force Mahomes into uncomfortable decisions. Strong schematics include disguised coverages, delayed blitzes, and over-pursuit of receivers. Mahomes must counter with anticipation, pre-snap adjustments, and a quick release. His athleticism remains an asset, but micromanaging increasing chaos demands leadership in real time. In this environment, Mahomes will face strategic adversity week after week, requiring adaptation of both skill and intellect. He must elevate his game beyond standard expectations. The league's collective focus on his team intensifies. Navigating these defensive innovations successfully becomes a test of his future dominance. He must become not just a talented quarterback, but a strategic force against evolving opposition. As Mahomes transitions into a new phase without Kelce, the topic of physical health and career longevity becomes imperative. His athletic style, mobility, deep throw accuracy, improvisation carries risk, especially under heightened defensive pressure. Without Kelce to reliably absorb attention, Mahomes may face more direct hits, increased knockdowns, and extended plays demanding exertion. Training regimens adjust, emphasis on core stability, joint protection, and injury prevention takes precedence. Recovery protocols become stricter, including off-field maintenance, rest scheduling, and nutritional oversight. His mentors and trainers calibrate workouts to preserve arm strength, flexibility, and endurance. Career longevity depends on balancing aggressive performance with prudent workload management. The organization must also monitor snap counts, practice intensity, and game day exposure. Mahomes must embrace the mindset of a veteran athlete who evolves rather than simply replicates earlier styles. Monitoring biomechanics, minimizing wear and tear, and sustaining elite levels year after year define success. Physical health transcends individual seasons, it anchors a legacy. In this chapter, the focus is on how Mahomes will sustain brilliance over time with smart physical management in his future. Mahomes's brand identity transforms significantly in the wake of Kelce's retirement. He becomes not just one of two stars, but the clear focal point of team narrative, league stories, and public perception. His on-field performance now intertwines tightly with off-field presentation, community work, media engagements, and leadership image. The personal evolution includes embracing mentorship, public speaking roles, and expanding influence within the sports world. Mahomes's fashion choices, endorsements, and business ventures reflect continued growth beyond the gridiron. His social impact becomes prominent. He can champion causes, represent the franchise's values, and engage in legacy building. The shift from co-leading figure to primary icon demands elevation of responsibility. Mahomes must reconcile being a high-performing athlete with the role of cultural ambassador. This alignment of brand and athleticism resonates across demographics. The organization supports this shift through media strategy, image curation, and public relations. In this chapter, the subject is how Mahomes leverages his athletic future into personal brand, maturity, and lasting influence, making his evolution as meaningful as his next game. Success for Mahomes now takes varied forms. Championships remain a critical benchmark, but also individual growth, team transformation, and legacy crafting matter. Metrics shift: completion rate under pressure, fourth quarter comebacks, leadership, grades, and adaptation to new personnel become central. The milestone of returning the franchise to contention without Kelce signifies a major achievement. Additional markers include playoff wins, statistical peaks, and sustained consistency. Mahomes must set internal standards rather than rely solely on external praise. Year-over-year improvement, fewer turnovers, and resilience in adversity define success. Furthermore, building a culture of winning around him, influencing roster decisions, and creating a foundation for future stars stand out. Future milestones might include becoming the franchise's longest-tenured starting quarterback post-Kelce era or mentoring younger quarterbacks. Recognition by peers, media, and fans validates his progress. In this chapter, the discussion centers on how Mahomes will gauge his future triumphs, how he defines victory beyond the scoreboard, and how he anticipates the next levels of achievement. The departure of Kelce represents a watershed moment for Mahomes. It signals transformation and the beginning of a new narrative. In this evolving story, Mahomes stands at the fulcrum. His decisions, performance, and leadership will determine how the franchise navigates the post-Kelce era. He confronts a changed supporting cast, heightened expectations, and intensified external scrutiny. Yet within this challenge lies opportunity to redefine greatness, to extend his legacy, and to shape the future of the team and the league. Physical health, strategic adaptation, mental resilience, brand evolution, and organizational alignment converge as essential components of his journey. Ultimately, the key point is that Mahomes's future is not predetermined by the loss of a star teammate, but by his ability to lead, innovate, and excel in a new context. His era begins now in earnest. The truth is that Mahomes holds the pen, and how he writes the next chapter will echo well beyond the present moment.